various countries. Leaders refuse to accept the reality of global warming and consequently reject climate change as the cause of calamities and destruction that adversely impact the economy. Now, although this is a minority partisan view, famously led by President Donald Trump, its adherents are highly influential, and that makes climate change politically volatile. And because it has been politicized, the topic has sometimes become too hot to handle, especially for non-partisan advocates like Rotarians, like us, who hesitate, therefore, to take a public position on the matter. So the situation begs the question: should Rotarians care about climate change, and to what extent? My fellow Rotarians, in big gatherings like this district conference, we often hear statements that could constitute the premise for friendly discussions on this matter. And the premise might go like this: Rotarians like to say that we are people who care about the world. We want our world to be a better place. And it's not just the 6 specific areas of focus, it's broader than that. By making the world a better place, it means looking at it as a whole, looking at the world in its entirety. And if the impact of climate change is global and it threatens the world, which we are striving to make a better place, then Rotary must be prepared to get involved and make a difference globally. It means being ready to talk about it and taking action now, with all 1.2 million Rotarians taking part around the world. This is the least we could do if we wish to be relevant. The logic seems pretty straightforward, isn't it? Signs of deterioration of the global environment are showing up at a much faster clip than they used to a little over a decade ago. And since Rotarians are doers, they look for solutions. But the solutions are not coming fast enough, and so far have seemed woefully inadequate. Thus, climate change as a global problem might tend to daunt even some of the most resourceful Rotary members. Do you agree or do you disagree? On second thought, a problem such as this should really be a worthy challenge to an organization like Rotary. In fact, many say that Rotary is uniquely cut out and has the ability and the track record to rise to a global challenge such as this and create a real impact. Let us not forget, my fellow Rotarians, we are in 200 some countries and geographical areas around the world. And more importantly, our members are people who are connected to the right people. We have learned a lesson from Polio Plus, and that is that our polio eradication program was successful, not really or not only because we have provided vaccines or carried out massive immunization drives. Rather, it was because Rotarians were able to talk to the right people, to get the right support, and to do the right thing. If we did that with climate change and the environment, governments would listen to us, wouldn't they? Imagine a global army made up of at least 1.2 million intelligent, influential, nonpartisan, action-oriented, kind-hearted, friendly, and generous volunteers, representing and being thoroughly familiar with environmental conditions in every corner of the globe from which they come. With that kind of army to do battle, you can now break the complex climate change problems into smaller pieces. And when you do that, you will see the many and myriad things that Rotarians can do and are already doing, in fact, with help from the Rotary Foundation and other kindred organizations. It is this kind of Rotary Army which has waged war with the deadly polio virus for more than 30 years and is now on the brink of victory. And now, today, this army is being temporarily called to do battle elsewhere. When our Rotary International Convention opened just very, very recently, our international partners in the battle against polio, the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Controls, the GDI, and similar organizations were there. And they were there because they wanted to issue a call to all Rotarians. Sure, they are thankful for what we have done for polio, but right now they have a bigger problem. They have gone on video to say that they need Rotary now to join them in the battle against the much more treacherous and ferocious novel coronavirus, whose code name is COVID-19. Now, we cannot ignore this emergency. In the short span of a few months, the virus has leapt from one country to the next and is now ravaging countries in Asia, Europe, North America, Central and South America, the Middle East, and Africa. It is proving more deadly than poliomyelitis. It does not discriminate against age, gender, culture, or socioeconomic status. It has infected and continues to infect millions of people. More than 1 million have died, all in the span of a few months. So there is this global emergency, probably the greatest emergency we've ever seen. And Rotarians are now being called to lend a hand. They need us to fight this virus with TRF leading the way. Who is saying this? No less than all the international organizations, the biggest organizations in this field that we have worked with. So, can we do it? Of course we can. And so can we also in facing the challenge of protecting our environment against climate change and the natural calamities and humongous destruction it spawns everywhere. To those who are unsure and have reservations, to those who doubt and hesitate, immediate past RI President Barry Racine has this to say, and I quote, "I know Rotary stays out of politics, but climate change is not a political subject. Like rainfall, it falls on the good and the bad alike. So it would befit Rotary to get involved in this thing that affects the entire world." My fellow Rotarians, there is now a very active group in Rotary that's showing this kind of a spirit, this kind of spunk. It is known as the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, or SRAG for short. Let me cite two brief statements from them that aptly summarize their entire stance and philosophy towards climate change. The first one is this: people want to talk about solutions. The second is that if we don't get climate change right, it really doesn't matter what we do in our 6 areas of focus, because Earth is like a life raft, and you cannot keep just part of the life raft afloat. Solutions to be effective need to be for everyone. It is no surprise, therefore, that Rotary as an organization has awakened to the challenge of climate change as an essential component of protecting the environment. Our own Rotary Foundation is beginning to use environmental considerations in the approval process for global grants. Let me give you some examples. First, increasing access to renewable energy and energy efficiency measures. For what? in order to create more sustainable and economically resilient communities. Second, empowering communities to develop environmental and natural resource conservation skills. For what? For economic gain. Because going green is an economic engine that creates jobs. Third, addressing conflicts arising from the management of natural resources. For what? Towards peace building and conflict resolution. Fourth, reducing environmental hazards and improve medical waste management for both disease prevention and treatment and maternal and child health projects. So, no wonder our Rotary leaders at the very top are sounding more and more committed to addressing challenges such as climate change in order to sustain our environment. Past RI President Ian Risley, for example, said without any hesitation, and I quote, environmental sustainability is and should be everyone's concern. In fact, he has shown his support for the advocacy of SRAG, that it is time to add a new Rotary area of focus. And this should be none other than ensuring environmental sustainability. While we await favorable action on the proposal at the next Council on Legislation, I think there are several matters that Philippine Rotarians could start cracking on even now. And with your indulgence, let me cite some of them. First, review the efficacy of standard Rotary Club interventions during disasters, especially those caused by natural calamities. Alam naman natin, every time a big disaster happens, nagkukumahog lahat ng Rotary clubs, no? Because these are really mga pusong mamon na tao, volunteers, and they want to do something for the victims. Question, how can these be further improved in terms of anticipatory planning and timely and adequate delivery of goods and services? Second, adopt smart and unifying strategies for effective collaboration with government and major institutions in disaster risk reduction and management. Accent on effective collaboration with government. You know, when we go out and try to give immediate relief, we raise funds, we tag all our members for contributions and so on. We do that all the time. We forget that government has been given humongous budgets for this out of taxpayers' money that we ourselves have paid. But oftentimes, these goods and services don't come out quickly and in a timely manner to be given to the people. That is one area where we could actually be active collaborators. Number 3, include apolitical lobbying and advocacy skills in the training of Rotary community service leaders. Accent on the apolitical. We will need to lobby with Congress. We will need to lobby with the executive department, national agencies. We will need to take on certain advocacies, but we don't have to create enemies. There are ways of working even with the most rabid partisans. There are ways of being able to look for common grounds that we can begin to work on together. Number 4, subject Rotary environmental projects to cost-benefit analysis, vis-à-vis sustainability and long-term efficacy. Many Rotary clubs are so well-intentioned, they go and do many little projects that are meant to improve the environment, but how sustainable are they? Will they be there next year when another team of officers comes around? So these are efforts that need to be looked at from the point of view of sustainability and long-term efficacy. And finally, promote and undertake joint global grant projects with Rotarians in neighboring countries for the protection of the environment. We all now know that climate change caused by global warming does not come only from causes within the Philippines. They come from other places. And therefore, it makes sense for us to be able to work with fellow Rotarians in the neighboring countries in order to do something more effective and sustainable for our environment. Let us therefore, my fellow Rotarians, encourage one another as fellow Rotarians to continue our quest for smart solutions to climate change and more effective ways to protect our environment. I wish to close with a statement that echoes the sentiments of two of our most recent Rotary International presidents, Barry Racine and Mark Daniel Maloney. And I quote, "As a vital component to humanity's well-being, we increasingly need to recognize the environment's elemental role in creating truly sustainable and lasting change." Thank you for listening, and let's have a fruitful discussion of this great concern. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Is it time to add a new Rotary of focus? My answer is yes, Gov Jimmy.
Thank you.
Gov Jimmy, thank you for that very enlightening, informative, and comprehensive speech. I know that a lot of our participants would like to ask questions, but please reserve it after the talk of the three panelists. Okay, let's let's give a round of applause to past District Governor Jaime Jimmy Cura.
Thank you.
Now let us proceed to our panelists, and our first panelist is past District Governor Louis Tickman. Our first panelist, PDG Louis Tickman, is from the Rotary Club of Suburban East Rizal. He is well remembered for his flagship project during his term as District 3800 Governor in Rotary year 2013 to 2014, protecting the environment through entrepreneurial ventures. He strongly believes that the long-term viability of a business enterprise and sensitivity to ecological needs are not opposing objectives. Thus, Green Atom Energy Corporation, of which he is a chairman, is the frontliner in the waste-to-energy facilities development in our country. Let us put our hands together and welcome past District Governor General Louis Tickman.
Thank you very much, Gov James. Fellow Rotarians, good afternoon. We are once again gathered for a common cause, to make a difference in the world, to find ways to help save Mother Earth for the next generations. My appreciation to our good friend, PDG Jimmy Cura, for his earlier exhortations for the environment. Kudos, Gov Jimmy, and thank you very much for spending your time with our district.
Thank you.
Fellow Rotarians, allow me to discuss the topic, protecting the environment from the perspective and experiences of a past district governor of District 3800 and a businessman who espouses renewable energy, particularly waste to energy, which, to my mind, could heal Mother Earth of its ailments in many, many ways. Friends, in 2013, 2014, as earlier stated by Gov James D., to raise the bar in our advocacy, District 3800 vigorously pursued the flagship project dubbed as environmental protection through livelihood and entrepreneurial ventures. For the whole Rotary year, environmental protection was the centerpiece project district-wide for the uplands as well as the lowlands and urban areas. To address upland forest denudation, District 3800 conducted the much-needed massive tree planting, and more importantly, offered alternative livelihood to the kaingeros and mag-uuling in the upland towns of Rizal province to convert them into allies and protectors of the environment. The mag-uuling, once the fiercest enemies of the environment, now use twigs, branches, and debris for charcoal instead of the whole tree. More importantly, they now help protect the forest. To this day, high-value crop farming and forest waste charcoal briquetting are still being sustained through the support and guidance of critical partners, namely District 3800, our district, Rotary Community Fund, and private corporations such as Rubble Group and Green Atom. In the lowlands and urban centers, improper and inefficient garbage disposal is one of the biggest contributors to climate change. The waste end up in open dump sites and landfills, even in Manila Bay in the recent past. And to this day, even in creeks, rivers, lakes, and oceans, which pose health hazards and serious environmental impacts. Shown on your screen are the length of time for different garbage to decompose, which is scary and horrifying for future generations. Please take note that disposable diapers decompose in 550 years, plastic bottles 450 years, plastic bags 200 to 1,000 years, and so on. When garbage end up in open dump sites, they are ticking time bombs that would cause the next garbage-related disasters, such as landslides and flooding, contamination of aquifer and the water table, production of the most dreaded cancer-causing dioxins, environmental degradation, and many other serious consequences. Friends, garbage in open dump sites undergoes two major phases of bacterial decomposition: aerobic and anaerobic. During aerobic decomposition, carbon dioxide is produced, while during anaerobic decomposition, which means there is no more oxygen, methane and other greenhouse gases are produced. This methane gas ignites, often burning at a temperature of about 500 degrees centigrade or less. At this temperature, dioxins are generated, Remember the dioxins, the cancer-causing elements? These are generated and emitted to the atmosphere, where it binds with the other elements, falls down to the ground, rivers, oceans, attached to the plants, fruits, and the vegetables. Dioxins in fruits and veggies, or those ingested by fish and marine resources, end up in our dining plates, get stored in fat tissues, and become element for cancer growth. This chemical dynamics is the very reason why open thrust burning, such as those in our backyards, was declared illegal. Fellow Rotarians, to add to our misery, garbage leachate in open dams percolates, migrates, and contaminates the groundwater and other bodies of water, thus endangering public health. The Rata Super Typhoon Angoy is among the many consequences of garbage mismanagement. Andoy devastated Metro Manila and the nearby provinces in September 2009. Rizal Province, the home base of our Rublo company, was one of the hardest hit. Super Typhoon Yolanda struck the Visayas in 2013, reducing vast areas of Leyte and other islands to ruins. Billions of pesos worth of properties and infrastructures were damaged. Thousands lost their lives, and thousands more were left homeless. Friends, to pursue the advocacy for environmental protection to the next level, our company, Rublo Group, founded the Green Atom Renewable Energy Corporation in 2014, registered actually in 2016, to serve as our corporate vehicle for climate change mitigation. With tagline, protecting the environment, our advocacy, our business. 20 years after the enactment of RA 9003, otherwise known as the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act of 2000, and 12 years after the implementation of RA 9153, the Renewable Act of 2008, the country is still grappling with the garbage disposal problems and failure to harness nor advance waste to energy. In response, Green Atom decided to do something to help address the problem in our own modest way. It accepted the challenge and immersed heavily on R&D and due diligence inspections of modern WTE technologies and facilities and original equipment manufacturers around the world, such as Japan, Korea, China, India, and USA. Fellow Rotarians, shown on your screen is the waste-to-energy process flow, matched with a stringent air quality control system, such as negative pressure that ensures no foul smell inside and out, flue gas treatment system that ensures compliance with emission standards, wastewater treatment and recovery system that ensures no contamination of the groundwater, aquifer, and other water resources. Continuous emission monitoring system that provides redundant setups. Greenhouse gases greatly reduced, if not totally prevented. Well, the garbage, the germs, bacteria, and viruses, including the coronavirus, are obliterated in a matter of hours, including also disposable diapers. Remember that disposable diapers, which takes 550 years to decompose. In a matter of hours, it is obliterated by a waste-to-energy facility. To better understand the process flow, please watch a video clip of a reference plant. Yeah, sorry. No sound.
Go, Louis, we can hear you.
James?
Yeah. Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah. We now present there.
Feeling ko pa malalaman ang resulta eh.
Is this what you will put up in Pampanga, in Mabalacat?
Go, Louis.
Gob Louie, mag-unmute ka. Mag-unmute ka, Gob.
Of Louis, can you hear me? Of Louis, can you hear me?
Go, Louis.
Wala eh.
Gob Louie, kinakausap ka ni Gob James.
Can you hear me, Gob? Louis?
Go, Louis.
Yes, go.
Wala kang audio.
Yeah, wala nga eh.
Can you hear me now, Gob Louis?
Yeah, we can.
Can you hear me now, Governor Louis?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Is this the kind of plant you will put up in Mabalacat, Pampanga? Hindi niya ako narinig.
Gob Louie,
Yes,
yan ba yung itatayo mong planta sa Mabalacat? At tanong ni Gob James.
Yes, this is the same, basically the same concept. I think we're done. We will now proceed to the presentation. Anyway, sorry, there was no audio. To continue,
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
we're now showing on your screen emissions that are within and even better than the Philippine and European standards of emission. Green atoms emission is on the right side. Next slide. The next picture emphasizes that the dreaded dioxin is not formed or generated because of the technology and the redundant process control system. Fellow Rotarians, Green Atom WTE project has two significant facets. First facet is the treatment and processing of unwanted pesky garbage in a controlled environment, instead of ending up in open dump sites, where large amount of carbon dioxide equivalent, a combination of carbon dioxide and methane, is prevented from being emitted to the atmosphere. The estimated CO2e emission prevented by Green Atom WTE in 25 years is about 77.7 million tons. The second facet is the generation of green energy out of garbage, wherein carbon dioxide equivalent emission is prevented or reduced. The calculation is about 1.3 million tons of CO2e emission prevented in 25 years. Now, the total combined CO2e that can be reduced or prevented by Green Atom WTE facilities in 25 years through its peculiar environmental and renewable attributes is a whopping 79.1 million tons. Friends, this does not include yet the mitigation contribution of Green Atom's state-of-the-art wastewater treatment facilities. Fellow Rotarians, waste-to-energy is now a matured industry that has become a standard fixture for sustainable progress in affluent countries, most of which have very high standards of air quality, such as Japan, with 1,243 waste-to-energy facilities, Korea, 35, USA, 75, European Union, 458, Sweden, 34. It is part of the European Union, but it is unique in some way. So it's separated from European Union, separated. Then China has 300 plus, India 90, and ASEAN member countries. Even the oil-producing countries in the Middle East are fast catching up on this basic necessity for sustainable growth and development. It is therefore not surprising that even Ethiopia, a country with one of the lowest GDP per capita, has invested in WT for their own clean and green development. Friends, listen to this. Countless WTE facilities around the world have become magnets for progress and development, resulting in creation of cities within cities. It is against this backdrop that Green Atom persevered for almost 6 years for our country to have its own modern waste-to-energy facilities. Using technologies and system dubbed by DOST as Green Atom Energy Resource Recovery System, the first WTE or waste-to-energy facilities in the Philippines shall soon rise in the city of Mabalacat in Pampanga, COVID notwithstanding. Let me end by concluding that Rotarians and Rotary clubs have been doing a lot for the environment. Not enough. We can do more. If Rotary itself gives the environment the focus and attention it truly deserves. For this is the only home we have. It is high time for Rotary to take environmental protection and consequently saving Mother Earth more seriously. And perhaps as the seventh area of focus for our next generations. Para sa kalikasan, kalusugan, at kaunlaran. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gov. General Louis Tickman. I will answer that. Yes, we accept the challenge. And congratulations for setting up the first WTE facilities in the Philippines in addressing the environmental advocacy and addressing the problem of our garbage. Again, let us give Gov. Louis a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gov. James. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, before we proceed to the second panelist, I would like to say that as of this time, we have more than hundreds of participants. And you can view us live in Facebook. I have some question here. I saw it in the chat group, but we will just address this after the session. Thank you very much for your understanding. And let's proceed to our second panelist, the only women in the group. Our second panelist is past President Christy Baroga, who is a CPA lawyer who was inducted to the Rotary Club of Wakwak in Rotary year 1998. She served as club president of the Rotary Club of Wakwak in Rotary year 2007-2008. She was trained in 2012 in San Francisco, USA, as a climate reality leader under former U.S. Vice President and 2007 Nobel Laureate for Climate, Al Gore. Again, let us all welcome our second panelist, as President Christy Baroga.
Thank you, Gov. James, and magandang hapon sa lahat. For me, perhaps the way to start is to understand what the word environment means. And the lawyer, Tony Oposa, in his book, Shooting Stars and Dancing Fish, said, environment is the law of life. And law here is used as an acronym which stands for land, air, and water. Indeed, all forms of life here on Earth depends on land, air, and water. As you know, however, the law of life is now under immense threat, and it is our duty to protect it. In the opening ceremony, we have heard Rotary International President's representative, Jesnick Dow, and he has showed us a picture of the state of the world today. And it is not a good picture of a world that we want to live for our children and the future generations. Now, COVID-19, or what others call as the Great Pause, perhaps led us to some discoveries. We witnessed a clearer Metro Manila skyline. We have seen wildlife roaming in city streets. I heard birds singing outside of my house, and I was even lucky to see, for the first time, a bird with yellow color. And the scientific community recorded low levels of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. Indeed, we have never had a better chance to witness a greener world. Now, the big question is, can we capitalize on this moment? I think that the past COVID months and weeks led us to some realizations of how fragile life is and how less important or useless some things in life are. Maybe it's time that we focus on the more important things in life, like protecting the environment. In my 21 years in Rotary, I have never been happier to see the April 2019 issue of the Rotarian. As what our speaker, past District Governor Jimmy Cura, said earlier, protecting the environment is not one of the 6 areas of focus of Rotary, albeit it is deeply entwined with each of them. But Rotarians understand that the world is their backyard, and they can see the effects of the climate crisis in the communities that they serve and in the communities that they care about. So what are Rotarians doing? Past District Governor Jimmy Cura told us earlier about what Rotary is doing. That past RA President Barry Racine asks Rotarians to start the conversation. And I'd like to add further that Rotarians train people to regenerative agriculture and waste management, among others. And some are even using their connections to change policy and planning for the future. District 9810 in Australia has had a sustainable communities for the past years. UK for 13 years has had its own district environment officers. In the ongoing virtual RI convention, one of the topics is about greening Rotary. And in this article of the Rotarian, there is here a feature story about an Alaskan who said, "It has taken science a very long time to catch up to what our communities have been saying. Because for 40 to 50 years, their communities have noticed the subtlest of changes happening in the environment around them. They were seeing the signs of climate change long before researchers and scientists started using this word. For them, climate change is more than just a discussion. It is a reality. It is something that they live with and face every single day and have for decades. And I think we Filipinos can also feel that it is literally becoming hotter every single year. In short, Rotarians are making it their business to do something about the climate crisis. On a personal note, you might ask, what can I do? I'm just a single person out of the 7.1 billion population of the world. Now, let me tell you that there is a group who challenged themselves to live within the 8 ton per year range. I know a lot of you are doing some of these things, and maybe you're doing even more. You plant your own food, you reduce, reuse, recycle, you go to the grocery with your eco bags. And you probably have heard about how a certain group of people in Bacolod and Iloilo popularized the barter system. For Rotarians out there, past District Governor Jimmy Cura mentioned about the ESRA. There are many Rotarian action groups, but ESRA, or Environmental Sustainability Group, is my personal favorite. I am a member of ESRA.
Wow.
For Rotarians who own businesses, you might write sustainability reporting in your accounting reports. In closing, I'd like to say that the issue is actually quite simple. We humans are dumping too much greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and it is making the world warm, causing the climate crisis we are in right now. Now, Rotarians understand that Rotary connects the world. I say, we study what is happening in this world and let us connect the dots, so to speak. Can we do this? I'm sure we can, because I believe in the innate goodness of man. Whatever your faith denomination is, I'm sure you will agree with me that man has the capacity to protect the environment because it is in our nature to care. It is in our nature to love because we are a people of action. Thank you very much for your time and keep safe, everyone.
Thank you very much, Past President Christie, for that very brief and high impact presentation. And thank you for complimenting the two other speaker, Gop Jimmy and Gop Louie. LAW, land, air, and water. It is our duty to protect it. And together, we can fight COVID-19. Thank you, and give Past President Christie another round of applause.
Thank you.
Now, last but not the least, our third panelist is District Governor-elect Ogie Suliman. He joined Rotary in Rotary year 1989 and became president of the Rotary Club of San Juan West in 2003. He was a two-time district secretary and served in different important district positions under at least 4 past district governors. Let us put our hand together and welcome District Governor-elect Ogie Suliman.
Thank you, Gob.
Yeah, the floor is yours.
Let me start by reflecting on the Rotary's vision statement. As I read, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. That is the 24-word Rotary's vision statement. I am reminded, just like probably some of our leaders and members of Rotary, to think about these words influencing the impact that we wish to achieve also in our environment. Even greater impact to protect our environment. Our resource person has just mentioned that in fact, Rotary is uniquely able to have an impact because we are in 200 countries and geographical areas around the world. You know, in fact, during the opening day of our virtual convention, I happened to attend a session which noted that Rotary clubs in the world are even more than the McDonald's stores. So going into the statement of PDG Jimmy, our members are really people who are connected to the right people. Therefore, as Rotarians, we have responsibility to do something to help protect our environment. We can have references as to how we can benchmark our initiatives. PDG Jimmy has enumerated to us many important projects that have been considered by TRF or the Rotary Foundation in the approval of global grants applications. Towards concluding the presentation, he listed down about 6 recommendations on how to protect the environment, the Rotary way. We can learn from all of them and note on some as best practices. Best practices may be seen from the different as enumerated. First, in the RI conventions, in Hamburg Convention, as well as in the virtual convention now that is going on, in the Environmental and Sustainability Rotarian Action Group, or SRAG, or in Rotary Showcase. The highlight of the RI Convention, especially the Hamburg Convention, and the ongoing virtual convention include emphasis on how to protect environment. There is a session just concluded last Monday entitled Greening Rotary Events, Be Plastic Free, Offset Carbon, and more. There were lots of learning from that session. These, together with outstanding environmental projects, are featured in the House of Friendships, which is, I believe, open 24 hours until the end of the virtual convention. Thanks to Rotary. Hamburg Convention puts environmental projects on display as Rotarians focus on cleaning up plastic waste and protecting our vital resources. In fact, there are highlights of these exhibitions. For example, the Dutch Rotarians, which organized the End Plastic Soup with the following major activities to make it successful. One is cleaning up of Amsterdam, collecting of plastics, recycling them, and having the output of this recycling to be made use to build low-cost housing from the bricks that are produced. And one of those activities is also the raising awareness to the people. In Germany, Rotaractors focus on the project that is concerning bees propagation. As we know, 80% of plants are pollinated by wild bees, agricultural plants or wild plants. But the populations of bees have been declining due to the effects of widespread toxic pesticides. They exert efforts to increase the bees population. Next is the SRAG. PP Christie is a member of this, and this is a Rotarian action group that is going very strong. It assists Rotarians in planning, implementing and evaluating service projects, building awareness, and inspiring action. SRAG encourages membership from anyone 18 years old and up who is supportive of SRAG's objectives. Some of the benefits you can get is finding project partners, building solution networks, and also developing expertise, sharing projects, and get other ideas and contribution of expertise. And there are many more. SRAG is a very good resource by Rotary clubs or districts on best practice. Now, I would like to show one of the best practices in relation to the present crisis that affects the world now. The first COVID control environment in Sri Lanka. This project is national in nature and has greater impact to all Sri Lankans. In an innovative move of Sri Lanka crossing 1,800 COVID-19 patients and 11 deaths, top service organization Rotary has teamed up with Sri Lanka Standards Institute, which is a government agency, to launch the Sri Lanka's first certification for a COVID control environment in Sri Lanka. The chairman, Dusan Sosa, said, given the strong political and policy leadership we are receiving on the management of COVID-19 lethal virus, it is mandatory that service organizations like Rotary, which is very strong on project management, support the leadership. This is why this project was launched. I know that there are also many significant projects related to COVID-19 responses that were done by our Rotary clubs in our district, as well as in other districts in the Philippines. They are all worth benchmarking with. Another popular project in the Philippines is the Coastal Cleanup Drive by Rotary clubs, just like what is shown in the picture. It can be partnered with government or non-governmental organization. Organizing a larger activity to celebrate an important occasion. This one is a World Tree Day, jointly with other Rotary clubs or other organizations for more impact. Doing a small project but with greater impact is an organic waste composting at barangay level with the low-cost type of fabricating a drum composter that is manually driven is also a good project. Although there are some clubs which have already done projects through district grants and global grants on bigger scale. Now, Rotary Showcase is a very good resource for us to find best practices. We know that there are lots of Rotary projects on the 6 areas of focus and some environmental related projects that are being posted. Why don't we refer to them and plan for our next environment protection projects? Our district has actually posted through the different clubs who undertook these projects about 133 environmental related projects since 2013 in the Rotary Showcase. And examples of these are providing solar light, recycling of waste, Jaryo Bags project, Brigada Escuela, and there are many more. With all that have been presented this afternoon in our breakout session, we can pause for the question, asking ourselves if Rotary is really doing enough to protect the environment. Let us have more meaningful and fruitful discussions. Now, thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, DGE Ogie Suliman. Are we doing enough for the environment? I think all of you have the answer. And thank you very much, DGE Ogie, for that very educational presentation. The responsibility of Rotarians to protect our environment the best practices of Rotary, and a learning session, and the highlights of some of our project and the data of District 3800 regarding environmental projects. Now, before we end this session, as Rotarians, we know very well that these small changes, these private individual choices, can add up to something tremendous. The decision we make may seem small, but they are nothing of a kind. I ask all of you to remember that because you are the leaders in your communities and you have chosen to help lead the way to a better future. The matter of environmental responsibilities, as in all others, we must first lead by example by making the choices that will bring us a healthier tomorrow. So together, we can help protect the environment. Together, we can help in waste management and waste disposal. Together, we can make a difference by connecting to the world. And after this session, we will have a 4-video presentation or share video of one of the last project of the Rotary Club of Malabon regarding the butterfly heaven. This is the last project before the ECQ or the lockdown last February. Our Elise, our technical coordinator, please share the video. Thank you. Thank you very much, Alice, for that very nice video. Compliments of incoming Assistant Governor Noel Cuico of the Rotary Club of Malabon. Now, let's go to the question and answer portion. Are the speaker and panelists ready?
Yes, we're ready. Go.
Oh, I'm looking for the chat group. I saw a lot of questions in the chat group, and I will read it one by one. The first one is addressed to DG and Ogi Suliman. And this was sent by Suliman C of the Rotary Club of San Juan West. Question is, can we put more weights to environmental projects of clubs for the district awards? Protecting the environment projects should be emphasized in the district task every year. And please answer this, District Governor-elect Ogi.
Yes, I think it is possible to study that for giving more weight to give an award, no, for Rotary clubs. And I believe even in the past Rotary years, the district governors have already considered them, but as was suggested by the question, probably is we can take a look at that for future Rotary years, that we can have more weights in environmental projects, especially that if the SRAG advocacy in having the seventh area of focus in Rotary will materialize or to be approved by the RI directorship, then it should be given more weight. James? Okay na?
Thank you, DGE Ogi. I think there is no follow-up question, and I can see here in the chat group that a lot of congratulations to the speaker and the panelists. And let me see here. Here, one question is, I am from the Rotary E-Club of San Juan. Can we have the project study for this butterfly heaven? How much area is needed and where we can get the mother butterfly to be distributed and how to protect them? Who can answer this?
James, ikaw yata.
From Doc Joel. Ako ba?
pero you know,
yeah.
One of the best practices. No?
I will address. Anyway, I will address this to IAG Noel Cuico, who is the chairman of this project. Okay, Noel, are you here?
Noel is there.
Nandyan siya, Gob.
Noel, you want to answer this question? If not, we will proceed to the next question.
Sorry. Go,
Noel.
Go. Hello, go.
Regarding the area, the Butterfly Heaven project, napakaganda raw. Ikaw yung chairman doon. Can you share with them regarding the area, the space, kung gaano kalaki, and how did you do it? I'll give you maybe 1 minute.
Okay. Pasensya na po kasi nasa kabila rin po kasi ako kanina, no?
Okay, no problem.
Hindi ko po ganun natinig. Bali, ang nagtanong po si, ano po,
From San Juan E-Club.
okay po. To San Juan Club.
From Samosa. Emerita Samosa.
Bali, nag-start yung project namin ng Butterfly Heaven. Last year, ang una namin project is yung Bird Sanctuary and tsaka yung mangrove. Inside siya sa loob ng school. So probably ito lang yung Butterfly Heaven and mangrove na nasa loob ng school sa buong Pilipinas. Or maybe sa buong bansa. Yeah. Bali, nasa 4,000 pupil student ang beneficiary. So katabi siya nung sa mangrove sanctuary or bird sanctuary na ginawa namin last year. So yun ang continuation ng project namin. So yun ang isa sa isang club banner project namin this year. And maybe next year or this coming Rotary year, mag-continue pa rin ang project namin para sa school na yun na dinedevelop para talagang sa maging ecotourism park, something like that. Nagpagod.
Thank you, AG Noel, for sharing us your project, the Butterfly Heaven. And here we have another question for our lady panelist, past President Christy Baroga. You mentioned that man's greenhouse gas emission are the main drivers of a warming world. Do you think planting trees would be enough? This question was from Rene Bucayo of RC Pasig.
Well, the short answer is, of course, no, because the question was something like, is it enough? No, but it is a good project, a good thing to do, and in fact, a lot of countries are doing that in massive scale, like planting millions of trees. The reason why I say the short answer is no, it's enough because. The main cause is the huge amount of greenhouse gases being dumped into the atmosphere. And even if right now, today, we stop emitting carbon or other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, those that are already there will still stay for 1,000 years. So we really need to do other projects. Like, some scientists are proposing carbon capture. I don't know how they will do that, but planting trees is one good and easy way to capture carbon. But it has to be on a large, massive scale. No, aside, of course, from waste to energy being lengthily and in detail explained in detail by past District Governor Louis Tickman, among others. So that's my take on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Past President Christie, for that very clear answer. And let's go to here. We have Past President Floro Francisco from the Rotary Club of Mampasan. This question is for all speakers. And with quarantine and lockdowns, what sorts of projects can we suggest to Rotary clubs to address environmental projects now without having to go out of their homes? Can we start with our resource speaker, Jimmy Kura? Do you want me?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. To me, one quick answer is a continuing policy review, because this is something we can conduct in the privacy of our homes, even if we don't have to go out. No? We like in some of the things I advocated for Philippine Rotarians to give a little bit more time to are the review of the efficacy of standard Rotary uh, projects and practices, and then the a review of our working relationships with the government and the other uh, big institutions that whose help and resources we would need, no, uh, in order to be able to provide interventions in the environment that are really meaningful and sustainable. Going back to the discussion on tree planting, for example, uh, it's just my personal opinion that oftentimes the tree planting exercises are really for show rather than uh, seriously undertaken. And that's probably the danger of these awards and citations that have become standard practice in Rotary clubs, to motivate our Rotarians. No? Perhaps the challenge today is to be able to rise above the level of mere, brownie points and carrots, and really look at the problem and accept the fact that this problem is so serious unless we are able to be dedicated and committed in our pursuit of solutions, and that unless we're able to really work together on a sustained manner, beyond the Rotary year, and not only by ourselves as a club, but in collaboration with many other Rotarians beyond our clubs and districts. Unless we are convinced about that, I'm afraid that the problem that Christy has explained so clearly in such a concise manner will hardly receive a dent from our efforts. Now, itong review na to, and then the continuing policy studies and exchange of views among us via internet and so on can continue, even if physically we are not able to venture out of our residences or offices. To think that the COVID quarantine procedures do not entirely exclude the possibility of activities outside. No? Remember that activities outside have the advantage, of reducing the chances for being infected by the virus, because droplets, dissipate more quickly in open environments uh, rather than what happens in enclosed surroundings like our buildings and our homes. So I would not write off yung mga other activities that can be pursued outside. Kailangan lang talaga i-review, redesign, and re-engineer how we will carry out these things. And people will have to be accepting of the fact that talagang halimbawa, yung physical distancing, it is a very awkward constraint on on the way we move around and do things. But if it is going to be necessary just so that we will reduce the risk of infection, by all means, we should do it. But pwede pa rin to undertake certain activities outside. I'd like to mention, for example, that meron na silang mga ina-identify na mga COVID-free provinces and so on. And now the planners are clustering these provinces. They call them bubbles, no? So that you can freely move from one province to the next. Basta lahat sila are COVID-free because they were able to protect themselves properly. And therefore, the chances of infection are not very high. So within this relatively safe environment, in each bubble, for example, you can carry on some of those physical activities. But I've given a mouthful. Maybe our other colleagues may want to make their own comments.
Yeah, Gov. James. Gov. James, may I?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Gob Jimmy, for that answer. It's your floor, Gob Louie.
let me add, Governor James, let me add something to the answers of PDG Jimmy Cura. During this, before the COVID, households account for about 56 to 57% of waste generated. The rest would be for commercial establishments, industrial establishments, and the rest. But for households, it is roughly about 57%. During COVID, lockdowns, ACQs, GCQ, and everything, it doubled.
Yeah.
Nadoble yung contribution ng households sa ating basura. And you can imagine kung ano-ano yung nadalang basura niyan. So it's I use the word scary and horrifying during my presentation. That's even without COVID. Now that there is COVID, a lot of germs, bacteria, and perhaps even coronavirus go with this waste to the open dump sites. Okay? I think I would respond to Past President Flores' question, what can we do? What can a Rotarian do during COVID without going out of our respective homes? Una, yung sarili muna natin, let us reduce our waste generation. Green Atom is an advocate and supporter of the 4R strategy on waste management. Ano ba yung 4R? Reduce, reuse, recycle, and then recover. That recover is, as I have presented a while ago, recovery of energy from the waste. Pero meron pang lima ngayon. Yung mga millennials are gunning for refuse. Inuuna na nila. We refuse so that we can reduce and so on and so forth.
Refuse.
So these are the things that we can do. Refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. And then we will have less basura. And also, with the information, or rather, the fact that probably a lot of our garbage have a lot of bacteria and even coronavirus in them, coming from perhaps even in healthcare facilities. We should be very conscious of this. We have to ensure that our garbage are properly handled. So once again, let me emphasize that households have doubled the generation of our waste. And no-brainer, we should tackle this problem. Reduce the waste, reuse some of our materials,
Thank you.
and even
Thank you,
recycle.
everybody.
I will again emphasize that waste to energy supports this reduce, reuse, recycle strategy. Thank you, Gaba James.
Thank you, Gop Louie, for that very clear answer. And how about the panelists? Do you want to
Quick pahabol?
compliments? Yes, Coach Jimmy.
Quick pahabol lang. This is
Yes,
sinabi
yes.
ni Governor Louie. Yung composting, yung making of compost from the waste sa bahay, sa household. May campaign na nun. Matagal na yung campaign na yun. Kaya lang very spotty. In this time of the COVID, where sabi nga ni Governor Louie, the amount of domestic waste has really increased. Maybe it's also good to renew the campaign. among more households, no, to use their wet garbage and convert this into compost, because this is going to be very useful for other activities, no, like urban farming and so on.
Agree.
Of James.
Go by Jimmy.
Yes. Go ahead. How about
Gov James.
Yes. Chuck. Yes.
Yung sinabi ni Gov Louie tsaka ni Gov Jamie, very important yun kasi we can always do something at home.
Yeah.
Dito po sa bahay namin, ang ginagawa namin, yung mga organic waste, sineseparate namin yun, tapos pinapakain namin sa mga bulate. Then they produce, with their waste, they produce vermiculture. Meron silang vermicompost.
Yeah.
Na ginagamit naman namin para magtanim ng mga kung ano-anong mga halaman at mga dahon-dahon na pwede namin gamitin panggawa ng salad. Meron na kaming, sa isang maliit na lugar lang namin, meron na kaming naitanim ng mga talong na kapag harvest na kami. Pero malaking parte nung aming, dalawa na lang kami sa bahay, okay? Kaya hindi naman ganun karami. Pero malaking parte ng aming organic waste, hindi na namin tinatapon, hindi na namin sinasama sa basura kasi pinapakain na lang namin sa bulate. So there are so many ways, creative ways by which we can on our own do something to reduce the waste contribution of households as a permanent part of our habit in contributing to social mas magandang mga ugali. Yun, Gob.
Tama.
Salamat, Chuck. May I request, please mute your speaker. Please. May narinig akong background, ano? Okay. So anyway, sino pa yung gusto who want to answer the question of past present law?
Christy's raising her hand.
Ikli lang, Gob. Alam nyo naman ako accountant, so mahilig ako sa accounting terms. Alam na pipilito ito. Anyway, in accounting parlance, we use the term inventory. No? Businessmen, I know this also. Maybe that can also be another project, to encourage people to do waste inventory. In relation to yung mga sinabi na ating speakers and Chuck also about waste, on our own, in our own households, we can make an inventory of how much waste we have, because when we realize that we have so many waste, it can probably influence our manner of buying. We can probably choose to buy things of less packaging, etc. Or we can probably recycle or think of ways on how we can reuse the packaging that are unavoidable. So yun lang, Gob.
Thank you, Christy. Yes, how about DG and Ogie? DG Ogie, you want to answer?
Short lang, Gob.
Go ahead.
Well, actually, sa experience namin dito sa lockdown, ang Rotary Club namin had a project to help also the poor and the needy, yung hindi inaabutan ng mga ayuda or yung mga relief goods, ang ginawa namin, nagko-contribute lahat ng members. Pagkatapos, isa o dalawa lang sa amin ang na-expose, because meron din kami mga partners na NGO at saka sa military. Yun, Ngayon, siguro in addition yung kung anong magandang project, although ginagawa na ng paramihan, especially the government, yung awareness on the COVID. Yung maraming kailangan na awareness gawin pa tayo because hindi naman kumukonti yung mga yung cases, di ba? So siguro kung merong mga members of Rotary clubs na techie or magaling sa digital marketing, siyempre kung gagawa ka ng awareness pagkatapos bring it out in the social media, baka makatulong din as a project of ayun lang, go.
Thank you very much, DGA Ogie. Past President Flor, I think they have already answered your question. Okay, I would like to go back to the...
Yes, thank you very much po. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, PP Flor. I would like to go back to the butterfly heaven. There is one question here. Emerita. Yeah, Emerita. You're asking, I think Noel has already answered you in the chat group regarding the space. It's 200 square meter, the space needed, and here. And also, it depends kung gaano kalaki kadami ang butterfly gusto mo ilagay doon. Local lang ang source ng butterfly. We can help you if you need help putting a butterfly garden. You can visit the site once the regular school opens. And your follow-up question is, how can I contact you after the lockdown? Well, Noel, you can send in your contact number here in the chat group. Now, this is for DGE Ogie Suleiman. Thank you, DGE Ogie Suleiman. I hope we really consider prioritizing environmental projects during your term. As I was in that breakout session in ISRAC session, really good projects they showcase, and they are willing to look for partners. Okay, then meron pa rito, from Ogie Suleiman to Ebron budget ko. Pwede ba sa WCS? Then ano pa?
Yung butterfly yung gob.
Butterfly heaven yun. Okay.
Bob, yung first question ni pinakamataas si Nick Baterina. Nick.
Na-miss ko yata yun.
Nasa topmost.
Hindi pa kay Ronald Mariano. Puro congrats. We need to enact more laws in addition. Celia.
I can read it, the question, Gov James.
Can you please help me read it?
Yeah. So this one is from Nick Baterina. He's asking, protecting the environment is not explicitly included in the Rotary areas of project focus. Does it mean that a proposed project whose key objective is to protect the environment may not qualify for a global grant? Maybe the governors can...
No, in fact, in fact, we gave out some examples of how the Rotary Foundation is using environmental considerations in the approval of certain grants, global grants applications. Diba kanina I gave some 3 or 4 examples. One was, for example, to create more sustainable and economically resilient communities. The TRF has encouraged and approved increasing access to renewable energy and energy efficiency measures. So, it's increasingly it is being recognized by our own organization. Number three, another one is addressing conflicts arising from management of natural resources. As you know, talagang dumadami yung mga conflict situations na ganyan. Tayo, closer to our place, this whole brouhaha about the West Philippine Sea, has something to do with the management of natural resources. No? How do you manage this so that we can continue to further promote peace and conflict resolution? And then number 4 is for disease prevention and treatment and maternal and child health projects. The Rotary Foundation has approved some global grant applications to reduce environmental hazards and improve medical waste management. So meron ng mga concrete steps being taken by our organization.
Go, James.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Jimmy. Go ahead, Go Louie.
If I may again add, on purpose, I presented that even in the Middle East, there are they are fast catching up on renewable energy, waste to energy. So clearly, even fossil fuel producers are no longer hypersensitive on matters about protecting the environment. And I guess, even a Rotary should make the necessary adaptations or adjustments to realities. Middle East is already installing waste to energy so that they could better treat their garbage as well as harness the renewable generation of energy from what is already waste. Our very own Rotary should be able to make the necessary adjustment in this regard. Yeah. Pwede na yung actually being the seventh area of focus, I think in the previous years this has been calendared already, and gradually less and less resistance pinifeel ng Rotary what is the pulse of everybody in the world, because they do not just cater to the Philippines, but also to other countries who might be sensitive to some issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Gop Louie. Before we proceed to the next question, I would like to read this from past person Floro. Environment can be included in all. It is a cross-cutting issue. Pwede sa water and sanitation. Pwede sa health, pwede sa economic, pwede sa literacy. It's how you formulate it. We have another question here from Laura Andal. Hi, Laura. If Rotary were to align our goals with UN, United Nations, Sustainable Development Goals, environment is at the forefront. No question, ano? Then we will entertain 3 more questions before we go to the raffle. And segment coordinator Chuck, remind me, before we go to the raffles, we will have a group picture taking. Chuck, are you there? Lito, you're there.
Yes, Gob.
Please remind me before the raffle.
I'll remind you, Gob.
Okay, Chuck. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Gob James?
Yes. It's okay. It's okay. Chuck. Yes?
May I?
Yes, yours.
I see. Let's acknowledge the presence of Past District Governor Benny Ricafort from Pasig South, and he's raising his hand.
Yes. Assistant Governor Benny Ricafort, welcome to our Breakout Session 4.
Good afternoon, Governor Benny.
Go Benny, unmute mo yung microphone mo. You unmute it.
O Benny, nakamute ka ngayon. Please unmute it, yung speaker mo.
Gob, i-unmute mo.
Good afternoon, Go, Benny.
Go Benny, go to the left. Ayun, that's it.
Ayun, nandiyan na.
Ayan, okay.
Good afternoon, Governor Benny.
Good afternoon to all of you. So I just want to say before you all adjourn, I just want to send my congratulations to all the speakers. Pati kay PDG Louie, ang galing ng project niya, lalo-lalo gagawin sa Mabalacat, Pampanga. I am... importante talaga yun eh. Importante kasi lahat naman tayo nagbabasa kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga kapitbansa natin. Tayo lang ata hindi kumikilos ng ganun. Kaya kung ako lang nasa high school pa ngayon, kukuha ako ng engineering para baka sakali pa inventory ng mabuting gagawin. Congratulations to all of you. And to also the people running the show. Galing ninyo. Walang inaantok. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Go Benny, for that compliment. Now, it's almost 5 o'clock. We will entertain one more last question.
What are your top priority items for a second term?
Meron pa ba tayong last question?
Si Ronald Mariano, Gob, meron.
Si?
Ronald Mariano. Basahin ko, Gob.
Please.
Do we still need to enact more laws in addition to the existing ones? If yes, on what topic and subject? Ronald Mariano, Metro Pasig.
Donald Trump did not reject foreign help from the Russians, and he actively tried to leverage foreign assistance from Ukraine.
Siguro si Christy pwede sumagot dyan.
Ako nagbasa, ako sasagot. Well, just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. My quick reaction was to say no. Why? Because there are already so many laws. Yeah, if you compile our environmental laws, it's like, this thick of a book, actually. And I don't know lang if like a lot of people know this, except perhaps lawyers, no? I think it's more of in the implementation and in people being conscious about this law so that they will know who make liable. But please know, however, that a lot of cases have already been filed and a lot of cases already won in court, actually. If you recall the cleanup of the DNR in the Manila Bay area, that was a result of a case filed like so many years ago to compel the city of Manila to implement a certain law that they need to implement. So yeah, there are already plenty of laws, to my mind. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, Christy, for answering that question. So now yes, okay, Chuck.
At saka, Gob, yung sa DNR, yung isa sa staff ni General Sematron, yung sa kanyang chief of staff, world-class president yun. World-class president Rudy Garcia, dating vice chief of staff ng Armed Forces. Kaklase ni Semato. Kaya medyo meron tayong kayang i-exert na pressure sa mga municipal governments na panghawakan nila yung Clean Air Act. Ang dami-dami pong batas, kaya lang hindi nasusunod. Pero kung medyo ma-encourage natin sila, medyo kahit papano baka umandar. Mandar.
Gov James, I'd like to add, I forgot to mention.
Okay.
I understand, like, I don't know if this is a law or an ordinance, I think, but maybe it's in the local government code, that certain group of people, like if they are 1,000 people, they can actually propose an ordinance, for instance, or a law, for instance. Yung like, kung gusto nilang, like, car-free Sunday, for instance, or give one lane for no cars on a certain day, maybe they can make that proposal if that is like signed by 1,000. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Christy, thanks. We have another question here from Eduardino Robino. Private pala to, no? Pwede ba basahin?
James,
Yes.
Gov James, Gov Jimmy, nagre-raise your hand. Oh? Naka-raise ang ng kamay niya.
Oh. Gov Jimmy, go ahead.
Yeah, gusto ko lang quick follow-up sa explanation ni Christy. Tama we have, it's not, our problem is not the lack of laws. Our problem is the non-implementation of the laws. Yung sinuggest ko kanina na one area that we can undertake for the protection of the environment is a political lobbying and advocacy.
Yes.
And I was suggesting that perhaps even in Rotary, we should have a skills development training for our Rotary leaders, especially those who will head community service projects in a political lobbying and advocacy activities. Because this is where we can bring to bear yung angat na standards ng mga taong miyembro ng Rotary na nire-respeto naman sa ating mga respective business organizations, nire-respeto naman tayo sa ibang institutions. Kung marunong lang tayo makitrabaho doon sa gobyerno so that hindi sila madaling mapikon, we don't get misperceived, for partisan considerations. We can arrive at certain things, to make possible the implementation of laws na matagal nating diniscuss tapos na ipasa pero hindi nga na ipapatupad the way they should be enforced. And that itself is one big step, I think, one big push, for the Philippines being able to improve the situation of our own environment significantly. Ang Rotarians are shy from advocacy work. All the way from, for example, we're supposed to hold integrity very high in our core values, the four-way test and so on. Pero nahihiya tayo, we're gun shy about advocating this wherever we are. Because they say, baka we get into trouble with other people. But we don't have to. We can just continue sustaining the dialogue and then showing that these kinds of values work in everyday life. They can be made to work. So I personally think this is a great contribution by Rotarians to our society na hindi natin masyadong natatap kasi nag-gun shy tayo.
Okay, thank you very much, Gov Jimmy. And I think we have to end this session. I see a lot of full of congratulations to our speaker and the three panelists. And of course, we learned a lot from this session. And congratulations in behalf of our district. Congratulations to all of you. Let's give a round of applause to the speakers and the panelists. Now, I will give the floor to our segment coordinator, Chuck. Chuck Manasala, it's your floor. Chuck, are you there? Do some picture taking. Chuck?
Yes, Gob. May I ask everyone to please open up their video. I-on nyo lang po yung video para kukunan po tayo ng litrato ng ating technical support. 4 na kuhanan to. Kasi hindi tayo kakasya, So, marami pa pong hindi nag-open. Open nyo lang po yung inyong yung inyong video.
Naka-sticker lang po ata kayo dito.
Ayan, marami pa. Si Floro,
Pwedeng nga.
Pipi Willie Reyes.
Open nyo na. Ayan, marami na nag-open. Si Dan, nag-open na. Jaja, nag-open na. Si Mike Yazon, hindi. Ano pala to? Si Past President Willie Reyes. Leonor Hermohilos. May litrato naman, Yung iba, so siguro, na lang tayo, mag-countdown na lang tayo ng pag-open. Siguro 10 I'll count down to 10 Pagkatapos nung magpapakuha na tayo ng litrato. Elise, puna mo kami litrato. Pagkatapos ng countdown, ha? 10, 9, 8, 7. Magdasal na rin kayo kasi malapit na yung raffle, ha? 6, 5, 4. Sana kayo yung manalo ng TV, ha? 3, 2, 1. Ayan, kontakan na. Hello. Smile.
Right. Please smile po.
Smile.
Alright, okay na po.
Ayun, okay na. Yay.
Raffle time.
Yeah, raffle time na. Raffle time.
SAG Chuck.
Si yata? Si Pipilito.
Pipilito.
Oo,
I'm ready.
Ayan na.
I'm ready.
Ano ba yung una?
So we are now 82. 81 participants.
Ready? Am I on now?
Yes, Pipilito.
You're on.
Thank you, everybody, for joining our lively conversation on protecting the environment. Now we have come to the concluding portion of our breakout session, which is called raffle time. Just a short but important reminder. Before we roll the electronic roulette, your presence and full attention is required, because when your name as winner is called, you have to type your name, your club name, your address, and cell phone number within 30 seconds. Otherwise, we proceed to draw another name. So we have 4 raffle prizes. We start with number 1, number 4 being the major prize, which is the 32-inch television. But before I ask Elise to go to raffle number 1, I will now declare that I will waive if I win a raffle. Elise, please proceed with number 1.
Ano yung raffle nating una?
20-inch Hanabishi box fan.
20-inch Hanabishi box fan. At buksan nyo na yung chat ninyo, baka kayo mapili.
Dami.
Uy!
Yay!
Alright.
Challenge.
PDD, James D ang nanalo. Ng 20-inch box fan?
Hanabishi box fan.
Okay. Palagay ko, hindi na niya kailangan mag-verify dahil nakikita naman siyang present, no?
Yes.
Okay, next.
Elise, number 2.
Ano ang bibigay
30
natin?
30 liters Orocan ice box.
30 liters Orocan ice box. Okay, game! Si Gablo!
Louis!
Ano ba yan?
Planted.
Ano ba yan? sa dami ng ikot.
Alright, okay. Anong susunod natin na pipiliin?
So 1.8 liters Bowman automatic rice cooker.
Automatic rice cooker. Okay, all right. Ikutin ng ruleta.
More. More ikot. More.
Up. Yes.
Mapet.
Mm-mm.
Mapet, ikaw yan.
Yan, kailangan, yan ang kailangan na lumabas sa chat.
Dito ba siya?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Ay, siya?
Oh,
Where are you?
I'm here.
I-chat mo kagad.
Na-type niya kagad.
Type.
Ah. Ano yan, Lito, ang susunod na, ano na? Ano yung susunod natin?
The TV. The last
Ay,
one.
yung TV.
Major.
Di dapat ano na sila, no? Mag-visioning na sila, no? Para sa kanilang mapunta, no? Ayan.
Tapos na, Mapet.
Congratulations. Maria, Socorro, Manahan, RCGM. Plus, meron pa
Are you done, Mapet? I can give you extra 2 seconds.
Ayan, nandiyan na. Nakasulat na. So, anito ang susunod natin, pipili
32-inch television set, courtesy of Governor Nelson.
32-inch television set, courtesy of Gov. Nelson.
Governor
Lahat
Nelson,
magdasal, lahat mag-imagine. Na
Pwede
sila
pa ikutin na mas
manalo.
matagal?
At paikutin ng matagal.
Okay.
At game na. Malapit na. Ayun.
Yan. 15 seconds.
And now, let's go. Oh!
Uy! Uy!
Si Peter from Valenzuela.
It's Peter.
Nasa siya, pamain sabihin mo.
Where are you, Peter?
Peter, saan ka pa ba?
Uwi na.
Wala na?
Wala na siya?
Uwi na.
Umuwi na po.
Dapat 20 seconds lang
20
bilang
seconds
natin.
pa. 20 seconds. 10, 2, 3.
Counting 1, counting 2, counting 3, counting 4, counting 5. Gone.
Yay!
Yes! Roleta.
Roll ulit.
Yes.
Okay, for a 32-inch TV. Roleta, go! Oh!
What?
Yeah!
Uy!
Yeah!
Random.
Pa,
Leto Valiente.
Anacleto Valiente. Nandiyan ka ba?
30 seconds.
Uwi na rin.
1, 2, 3,
Yay! Wala.
4,
Dali muna, bigyan muna natin. Baka lang hindi makita yung chat.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
20,
Go, Gan!
21. Okay, mukhang wala na siya. Dito,
Suspense,
isa pa ulit. Isa pa
Suspense.
ulit. Okay, isa for... Eto na, 32-inch TV. May mananalo na. And ready, and go. Mukhang meron na.
Oh!
Uy!
Sino yan?
Present!
Oh.
Present!
Ayun, sulat.
Pipi Rudy Mendoza.
Gov James, my classmate. Gov James, Noel.
Pipi Rudy
Classmate.
Mendoza.
Noel, classmate ko yan.
Isulat na. Type man
Nandiyan ba?
na yung message.
Nandito.
Andyan.
Ay, finally.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
classmate.
Sure.
Thank you.
Done?
Yes.
Since I have all your cell phone numbers, I will personally contact you and make arrangement for the either pick up or delivery. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Kain muna
Thank you,
tayo.
Chloe.
Very much po.
Kain muna tayo. Kain.
Adjourn na ba tayo? Adjourn?
It was
Hi,
a very
Jerry.
good breakout session.
Wala bang-
Thank you very much.
Walang isa-serve na pagkain?
Pinadala na, hindi pa ba dumarating
Kain
sa'yo?
muna. Kain.
SAG chap.
Sagot ni
Alright.
Floro yan.
Maglilib na ako. Magtatrabaho na po ako. Trabaho ko naman.
Okay, bye-bye.
Magre-record na po ako ng
Bye-bye.
Jimmy, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Louie.
Bye-bye.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye-bye po.
Ay,
Hi,
thank
Muppet.
Bye-bye.
you po.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Mag-alis